Good evening, I'm Checha Lazaro and you're watching Media in Focus, a weekly discussion about issues that affect media, which then determine what you, the public, gets to know. My first guest tonight, and perhaps the country's most popular columnist, after this. This is Media in Focus, and our first guest tonight is entertainment editor of a national daily, the Philippine Star. I think you might guess who he is, and he is the paper's most widely read columnist. Aside from hosting a showbiz-oriented television program, his column, which has been running for more than a decade, has led many to consider him one of the most trustworthy and powerful entertainment figures. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to welcome a friend and much loved Funfair columnist Ricky Lo.
Thank you for inviting me here. Cheche, actually, Funfair is more than a decade old.
More than a decade?
It's been there for more than 35 years already.
35
yeah,
years?
It's been traveling
but you're only 25 years old. How can it be 35
I'm
years?
24.
Ah, 24, okay.
Yeah.
So how did it...
started in the old Manila Times before martial law, then
Yes.
after 1972 actually.
Yes.
Then after martial was declared in 1972. No, in 1970.
Yeah.
So after 2 years, martial law was declared, so the column transferred to the Daily Express. It stayed there for 14 years, and it moved to the New Manila Times, so it was revived. Then after 1 month, it transferred to the Chronicle, which was revived.
Yes.
Then from the Chronicle, it went to the Philippine Star.
Yes.
And it has stayed for 20 years now, because the Star is celebrating its 20th anniversary on July 28th.
Oh my
so
gosh, but you know, the number of years your column has been running doesn't match the number of years that you look. So
wow, thank you.
It's not a credible statement.
Thank you.
But
I
my
look
question,
25, I said.
okay, yeah, 24 or 25. So my question to you, Ricky, is where does all that power come from?
Power, you know, every time somebody says that I'm a powerful journalist or whatever,
Yes.
parang tataka ako, no? Because I don't feel that power at all.
You don't feel it?
I just feel the responsibility, di ba? So it's such a big responsibility. So every word that goes into the typewriter, because I still use a typewriter every now and then.
Yes.
And every now and then I use the computer. Every word that goes into the typewriter, I parang tintimbang ko, di ba? Because I know the responsibility of a journalist. Even if you are if you're only, in quotation marks, movie writer, because some people in the business, in the field, the so-called legitimate journalists, I know that some of them look down movie writers. Parang ini-small nila, di ba?
Okay, why do you think that is the perception?
Well, I don't know. They have, I don't know if it's discrimination or something, or they think that it's so easy to be a movie journalist. It's not. It's just like being a legitimate journalist.
Well, yes, there is that perception
Yes,
that
yes.
the people from hard news think that the journalism that entertainment journalists do is not journalism.
It's not journalism, but I insist that it is, Cheche.
Okay.
It is journalism.
When we talk about ethical standards that we're
Yes.
trying to apply to journalism, is there a difference between hard news practice of journalism and entertainment journalism?
Yeah, I think it's all the same. Like everybody else, I think I'm speaking not only for myself, but for every movie writer. A movie writer should be truthful, should be accurate. A movie writer shouldn't manufacture things, shouldn't put words into the mouth of the interviewee. And ethics. He should observe manners also in writing. There are manners to be observed in writing, no?
Okay.
Like the use of language, no? You can write about very obscene things and use decent language, diba? So I think those are all the things that...
But would you say that this is true for the whole entertainment industry, entertainment writing industry?
Well, I hope it is. I'm speaking for myself now, no? And for the
Yes.
Star. Because I write for a broadsheet like the Star, and I use the language which I think is acceptable to the market.
Okay.
But if I were writing for a tabloid, I'd probably, I'm sure I'll use the same language that they're using now, because I'd be talking to the CD market, not looking down or downgrading that market, but talking to that kind of market and speaking their language.
Okay.
Because journalism is, you write to be understood. You write not to impress, diba?
Yes, yes. And that is your main objective there.
Yes, to be understood.
Okay. You know, there are a lot of comments, for example, about the use of blind items.
Blind
no?
items.
We always say in the principles of journalism that when you state a fact or you state it as fact, you have to check your sources, check your data. For blind items, does this happen? What is your guiding principle for writing about blind items?
The same guiding principle that I use in writing wide awake items, where you name names. Blind items are how do you call it? Valid or legitimate news. The only difference that you don't name names. But I check and recheck. I don't.
So it can be substantiated. For example, if you
of course, yes. Can be supported by how to call it?
By data.
By data, yes.
by eyewitness accounts.
Yes, yes. Well, so far the batting average, my batting average is fair, good enough. Yeah.
But for those that you miss out on, how do you account for that?
Well, sometimes you put out a blind item and the star who feels alluded to call you up. Cheche, why did you write this? Actually, what happened is this. I have to correct what came out yesterday. Then the first thing I ask is, you feel that you're the one in the blind item?
Yes.
If she says yes, then I say, so I'll put out your side tomorrow, but I have to identify you. But I have to respect their stand also.
Okay.
And I always put out their side. It's fair, diba? Even if their side is contrary to what I wrote.
For example, you're also known to have DPAs or deep penetration agents.
Yes, yes.
Who are these people, and how do you choose them?
They're all over. I cannot name names that they could be around somewhere, invisible. Yeah.
But they supply you with material.
Yes, yes.
Okay, how do
and
you...
they're very reliable.
So
most
how
of
do
them
you check
people
them?
that I know, and most of them, some of them are the stars themselves. So who can be more reliable than Cheche Lazaro giving a blind item, juicy
Ricky Lo.
item to Ricky Lo?
Okay, but how do you check them? I mean, you know, I may be doing this as a self-serving to serve my own purposes. How do you double check what I have to say if I'm your DPA?
You know, through experience, you know naman what the motives are, diba? Even if the DPAs are your friends, alam mo what they're pointing at, what their motives are. So I accommodate them. Then I do it in a way that won't put my credibility naman on the spot.
Okay, how do you...
Compromise.
Okay, like in choosing the news items that go, for example, on the daily newscast, how do you choose who you're going to write about?
First, the subject must be interesting to the public. Second, even if the subject is unknown, if the situation he or she is in is very interesting and newsy, then that's about it. Dapat yung interesado.
Drawing power.
Otherwise, what's the use of writing about something that the readers are not interested in?
Okay.
Just like talking about something, tapos yung listeners mo are not interested, parang matutulog lang sila, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do people approach you, for example, and say, Ricky, please write about me. I have this new thing. Please help me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yes.
How do you treat those requests? For example, when they say, Ricky, can you write about us? And you know, we have this gift for you.
Sure, a gift. It depends on what kind of gift.
Do you have rules for that? Do you say?
Not naman rules, diba?
Well, how do you handle that?
If I approach me, Cheche Lazaro, Ricky, could you write about this? That's okay. That's okay. You give me a cake or whatever. That's okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
Meron bang, do you set limits, for example?
Limits, I won't accept house and lot, of course, no, and a car or whatever. Yung mga, ano na, di ba? Yung mga questionable gifts na, no? GC or tickets, parang okay lang siguro.
Okay.
It depends on how you handle these things, di ba? You're familiar with all these things, di ba? Yung mga gifts and how do you call mga tokens or whatever.
Yes.
It all depends on the editor or on the writer if he allows himself or herself to be influenced by these little gifts, di ba? Pag sinabing, Cheche, could you put this on your show? okay, nilagay mo. Then the next day, in appreciation, it gives you
Pansit.
Pansit or whatever. I think that's okay.
Do you
Ang
set...
hindi lang okay siguro if I say na, Cheche, could you write about this? Could you attack this person for me? I'll give you something. Parang that's already
Does that happen?
manipulating you, di ba?
Does that happen to you?
It does all the time.
Okay.
But I put him in place.
You put them in place?
Yes.
What do you do? How do you handle...
Very nicely, let's tell them that I don't do that. If I have to, I don't think I hit anybody harshly or unfairly.
Okay. What about...
I don't want to be used naman to as instrument against other people. Not in that way.
Okay. What about scoops? I mean, in this highly competitive
Yes.
world, you are always trying to outscoop somebody, get there ahead of everybody
Like you
else.
do.
We try.
Yeah.
So how does that happen? How do you handle scoops? Do you have people that tip you on these stories, and what do you do to attain a scoop? How
Yeah,
far will you go to attain a
I
scoop?
think friendship counts in this aspect, no? Because I've been in this business for a long time. I've developed connections and friends, and there's some mutual trust among friends, no? So sometimes right there in the studio where something's happening, parang they call me up at home or wherever I am to tell me the story, and that's a scoop, di ba? So I rush to. Para bang excited ka to go to the office and type your story. Because between now and tomorrow morning when the paper comes out, how would you know if that story would reach somebody else, diba?
Yeah.
The competition in quotation marks.
Yes.
So there's always that a little anxiety or worry that somebody might beat you to the scoop.
Okay.
So you open the papers in the morning, you open Inquirer,
Your
the
competition.
Bulletin.
Yes.
I read almost all the papers now. So if the story's not there, then you feel, oops, at least I have the story. It's always nice, it gives you a nice feeling to break the news than to follow it up, di ba?
Yes.
You get the feeling also.
Yeah. Going back to your celebrity, you're not just a writer nor a columnist. You're also a celebrity, right? Because of your...
Yeah, but I don't feel it, honestly, Cheche.
You don't feel it.
I don't.
When people approach you, when all of the biggest stars in entertainment call you, ask for your help, don't you feel? You said you didn't feel the power. You don't feel the celebrity. Why is that?
Not at all. I don't know. I feel that I'm just doing a job.
You're just doing a job.
Yeah, because
Are you rare?
If you feel
You
that-
don't seem to be normal.
No, I'm sure there are so many of that kind in my field, but I don't want to be aware of the power that you're speaking about, because it might go to my head and I might abuse it, di ba? It's so
okay.
easy to abuse power, di ba?
Yes, that's true. But going back to gifts, no, it's not only gift. It's not only a plate of pancit or trips.
money.
Trips, for example.
Trips, yeah.
Okay. Do you consider this okay?
You mean trips abroad, like what I'm
Yes.
doing for Hollywood?
Yes.
I don't think they're gifts at all. They are assignments because they invite you there to attend a press conference, to interview the stars.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Do you see any
They
difference
don't
in the
give
way?
anything at all.
Do you see
You just
any
pay for the
difference?
transportation and the hotel.
Is there any difference between how entertainment writing is done in Hollywood and done in the Philippines?
The licentiousness is almost the same, but the system is very different. They're very systematic about the whole thing. If they say that the TV interview is from 8:45 to 9, you have to be there at 8:15 for the makeup or some kind of a briefing. So when they say that Cheche, your turn is there, at 8:45 you start the interview, and 9 o'clock you stop the interview.
Okay.
So they're very on time. The stars come on time. If it's Harrison Ford, if the call time is 7:30, he's there at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So
what
that's about
else?
the only
What other-
difference.
That's the only difference.
They're very cooperative. If they're superstars, international stars, very accommodating and very cooperative. Because according to Harrison Ford, who's shy about interviews, he said that he understood the importance of the interview, because us journalists are the access to the public, their medium to the public. That's what he said.
What about in terms of ethics? Do they, for example, bridge certain ethical standards in the coverage? Do they accept payment, for example?
Us?
Yes.
when we are invited to Hollywood junkets, they pay for our transportation, of course, for the hotel, and there's a little amount for them in the hotel for meals.
Okay.
That's about it. Aside from that, after the official event, you're on your own. If you want to stay longer, you can move to somewhere else. You can stay with friends and spend for your own.
In your experience of 35 years in journalism, have you seen an improvement in the entertainment press?
Improvement in the number of reporters. Are so many movie reporters, and as far as movie writing is concerned, so
Yes.
many movie writers now, much more than the number was when I started more than 35 years ago. In the attitude, they are more resourceful. Kasi some of the writers started as friends of the stars, no?
Yes.
So they know the lives of the stars.
Yes.
So they could get inside stories about the stars, no? That's their advantage.
But what do you have to say about managers of stars who are also writers, who also practice journalism? Is that good?
Well, if you can draw a line between being manager and being a journalist, I think that's.
Do you think they're able to do it
Many of my friends do it fairly well.
fairly well?
Yeah, if there are news about their talents, instead of writing about them, about the talents themselves, they give the stories to some other friend reporters, and that's fair. I think that's fair.
Is there an old boys network in the movie industry writing?
Old Boys Network, a black parang Spice Boys in the same,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, like for example,
I think
you.
so, like,
it's
yeah.
a clique.
Click in an informal way, siguro, di ba? Like I tend to gravitate towards friends who've been there for as long as I have been.
Yes.
And I don't call it a clique. Because we're just friends. We've been there for a long time, so we stick
Okay.
together. Like Ethel Ramos, Ronald Constantino, Nestor Cortero, Mario Bautista, Crispina Belen, Amy Villardi of Inquirer. We've been in the business for the same time.
long
Yes,
time.
a long time. Yeah, so we stick together.
Thank you very much. And for 35 years being in the industry, Ricky, thank you for joining us
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be back when Media in Focus returns. We talk